Hello, friends. Good afternoon. She's back. Thank you all so much for being here with me. I know you came in earlier. So, for those of you who were joining me about 3 hours ago waiting for Peter, I found Peter. We talked it out. We had a confusion. Time zones are hard, my friends. So, we'll be back in about 2 hours with that conversation. But now I have a very special guest I'm going to bring to you. You're a repeat customer of Open Source Friday. Overall, awesome person, GitHub star, Daniel Roe. Welcome, Daniel. How are you?
Hello, it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me back. I was a bit worried.
Well, listen, you must have done something right the first time. I'm totally kidding. It was absolutely fantastic to have you last time. Last time we had this conversation on Open Source Friday. I think it was, oh my gosh, it was around build time because I remember not being home. And you were super gracious with your time in making it work. I know it was much later for you than today. So thank you. But what you been up to? I know there was a lot happening last year. And I'd love to hear a bit about what you want to show us today.
Absolutely. So what's happened? What's happened since we last talked? I think quite a lot of things. So I changed jobs, for example. I mean, I'm still doing the same thing. And we're on the run up to the release of Nuxt 5. So that is a lot of the focus right now is on that. Last night, I finally managed to release a feature release of Nuxt 4.3, and we're really packing it in with quite a lot of exciting things. In fact, I was so excited about one of them that I even started building a side project as a result. I don't know if that's just procrastination or what, but basically lots of things. There's lots and lots of stuff, I think, that's
Nice.
been happening in my world.
Nice. Okay. So you started to build this side project and independent of the release, right? But let's find a link for the release. I'm trying to see. Let me see. And if you have it handy, what was included there? And then I don't know if you want to give us like a breakdown of why did you start? Did you start building this side project because of the last release, or was it independent of that?
So honestly, there are a couple of, do you know, I don't know about you, but I have so many side projects that are just they're float that
And
they're
now it's so
I
hard
have
to say no because you feel like you can, sprinkle a little bit of agentic power to it and actually build it.
that is a big difference these days, I think. So previously, uh, I think previously a side project that would never make it out of the ideas list. It's very easy to actually get going with it. It's still, I think, just as hard to finish a project.
Yes.
I'm not sure that the agentic world and makes it any easier to do the psychological job of saying go. You're ready to go out into the world, but it certainly makes a lot of the rest a lot easier. I think it moves people into the realm of product manager for their own side projects because they're much more focused. It depends what you're building and why, right? A lot of my side projects, I don't know about you, but a lot of my side projects are fixing some kind of, it's something that you want
A
in your,
100%. A hundred
right?
percent. That is 99% of the things that I've done. They're all selfish endeavors.
I think open source is best when it's selfish, really,
Fair.
because well, that sounds a very strange thing to say, but as in when you are scratching your own itch, when your reasons for doing what you're doing don't demand anything of anyone else, it's very freeing. It's very freeing for other people because they don't feel like they're under some kind of obligation. There's not a sense of obligation. This is just a sense of joy in playing together in the same playground, right? And I think there is a degree to which, you know, a positive sense of selfishness, like as in you're getting something out of this yourself, is essential for open source. But yes, so games, for example,
Yeah.
I've got a game side project, which I'm pretty sure 3 years old that I haven't released. But I managed to release one just last week, I think. So I'll tell you what that is. It's called Pangram. And this was born out of total frustration. So basically, one of my favorite games is the New York Times Spelling Bee. Have you ever
Oh,
played it?
nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's this great game. It's really simple. So you've got 7 letters, and you have a sort of one of them is a special one, and you can use all of the letters lots of times, and you just try and make as many words as you can. Obviously, you know that, but I mean, for anyone who doesn't know it, and this is great, but it doesn't work offline. So it's really simple as a game, but I get on the plane, for example, or I'm traveling somewhere, and it just stops working. It just says, "Hey, go reconnect when you're online." But I'm sorry, this is the kind of game that should work really, literally anywhere. I shouldn't need to be online.
Yes. Yes,
So
indeed.
I started building this on a plane, and most of the coding for it was probably done on planes. As I was sitting there, like, right, I want to be playing my game, and I can't play my game, so I'm going to jolly well create my game. So yeah, I created this game called Pangram. A lot of the rules are similar. You have your 7 letters, you have your central letter, and you guess. But it's a progressive web app, so it works offline. And in fact, it works if you have no internet connection. You can still go to the website. You can install it as an app on your phone. I have it installed on my iOS device, and yes, you can play. And it's got a lot of the other kinds of things that you would want to have. Like you can see how many other people got the same word that you just did, or you can look at the hints and figure out maybe some clues as to what the word might look like. And it works in more than one language. So not only the user interface is localized, you also have different word lists. And absolutely some of that was only possible with agentic power. For example, I was not able to translate the UI, but I was just able to point an LLM and say, please translate everything for me. And that was a really nice thing.
That's amazing. Okay, I love it. Listen, you have some of the community saying this needs to go in the App Store. I'm here to tell you not everything needs to be in the App Store, okay? I was literally saying that yesterday. But I love the fact that you can do this offline now. And so the website is up. I share pangram.com. And where is the source code for this?
It's
Beautiful.
also all on GitHub, of course. And so
Yay.
if you click there's the little settings button, and it will tell you what commit hash made the current version of the app that you're looking at. And you just click that, and it will take you to GitHub.
Awesome.
It's all open source. If you spot something I could do better, make a PR, open an issue, it's all there. I would love some other people who like playing it, and other people who want to make it better. But I mean, for me, I found it so useful as an open source as a maintainer for open source project to use it. I don't know. It's easy to get into the world of just I'm maintaining. People are opening issues. I'm solving them. I have an idea of a thing I'd like to do. But it's not until you actually use it that you really feel where the frictions are, I think. And so things like this, I find so useful for figuring out what is or isn't working. And I have some to-dos that have come out of this project where I've spotted either something to do with Nuxt or something to do with the Nuxt ecosystem, where I think, yeah, we need we need to fix this. This isn't working right. That is not what it should be. So that's really good, I think, from my point of view anyway.
I love that. Okay. So obviously you've been using agentic workflows and you've been using agents and you've been using AI as part of like this fun thing that you wanted to fix a problem for yourself. But tell us a little bit about Nuxt, like what's going on. I think, well, was it Nuxt? I'm sorry. There was the, you're still part of the core team. What changed in December? Because I'm looking through your talks and you've been working full time on Nuxt for a bit, right? Or when
Yes.
did this happen?
So I've been working full time on Nuxt for I think it's about 3 years.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
And I've been leading the core team for about 2 years, something like that. Anyway, so I'm really privileged. I'm one of the very few people who is able to work on open source full time, and I feel it's amazing. But in July, I was hired by Vercel. So Vercel hired me and a couple of the other core team working on Nuxt in order to set us free to continue to work on Nuxt. So what I actually do on a day-to-day basis hasn't changed.
Okay.
But I have a lot more stability, which is phenomenal. So I'm really glad about that.
That is amazing. Well, congrats on that, and shout out to Vercel. Like, I love that. That's amazing. So now you're still part of the core team. You're still working on Nuxt. You're working on 100%, but you don't have to stress out about things. So that's good. I'm so excited for you. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome. So you said you pushed the release yesterday. Is that
Yes.
correct?
So that's the release. That was 4.3. Now we have a philosophy in Nuxt. So this was the first thing I did when I stepped up to lead the team. I said we're going to have a cadence for releases, which isn't focused on feature completeness. So it's not that we have a thing that we're going to do and we're going to take as long as we need. Because if you're like me, any dev, we take so long because we want everything to be perfect. So I thought it would be more helpful for us to have a time-based release, right? So that we would have a sort of a patch release every week or so, a minor release every month or so. That's where the features get shipped. And then a major release with breaking changes every year or so. And although I've not managed to make that happen all the time, it is really helpful for peace of mind and sort of bit of you don't need to. Yeah, I mean, you can adjust the scope. You can say this feature is not done, so we're not shipping it, but we're still shipping something, even if it's just 1 or 2 tiny bug fixes. We can still do that. We'll ship those, and that is a fantastic thing. I think it's good for me as a maintainer because I don't. You embrace the rhythm, and you do what you can, and you have something that's regular, and it's great for users because people know if there's a bug, the fix will be out in a week or 2. It's not going to be a sort of forever kind of thing of, oh no, 6 months later we're still facing the bug. So that's been really good for us. And I hoped to get this minor release out over Christmas. We had some really nice things. We had some snowfall in the Nuxt loading screen. Now, if you were to start a new Nuxt project, you'll see snow falling in the background, which is quite fun.
Yeah,
it
nice.
tries to detect your hemisphere. So in July in Australia, you'll start seeing snowfall. I'm not quite sure if that's really accurate. I don't think there's a lot of snow in Australia, even in July. But yes, that's the kind of thing that happens. But it has a lot of other really big features too. A lot of them centered around caching, performance at runtime, so making things a lot faster. And that's where my second side project came in.
And what is that?
Yes, and well, you might ask. So,
and also, are you going to show us? Like, are you going to show us some of these projects?
Yes, you want to see it? Okay,
please share your screen. Let's see the things.
That's true. If you don't say this, I will. Okay, yes, allow.
And welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And tell us where you're coming from, please. I want to know. If you're in Australia and there is no snow over there, where you are. You're in Argentina. It's the middle of summer. I know that because my earlier guest for the open source Viernes is from Argentina, and they are in the middle of summer right now. Nice and toasty. Hello, Suds from South Africa. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, I've got it. Finally, I've shared my entire screen, which is what I wanted to do.
Brilliant.
So there are a couple of things. So I mean, are you happy for me to share something which is pretty, like, I've not shared this with anybody else. So this is.
Are you kidding me? I'm all for the exclusives. Yes, show me. Okay. You hear it here first.
It's all super early. So first, if you were wanting to see Pangram, this is the game there. And I saw someone asking about word lists. So you can pick different word lists. You can currently Spanish, French, Dutch, German, and English, UK, and US. So this was side project 1. And it's all on GitHub, and you can go and make a pull request or whatever. But so we shipped Nuxt 4.3, and one of the things that is in there is the ability to enable what we call payload extraction when you're going from a one route which is cached to another route which is cached. So payload extraction is the idea that when you're doing any kind of data fetching, any kind of anything which is involves data, you can actually do that in advance. So you can do it at pre-render time. So when you're building your app, for example, then you hit your API and you save all of that data, you extract it, and then at runtime, you don't need to rerun that again. And this really makes websites a lot more performant, because when data doesn't change, why should you need to run it over and over again? You might not want it to be part of your build, but you definitely want it to put it somewhere where you can access it easily. And so that's been enabled for quite some time. In Nuxt 2, we called it full static mode. In Nuxt 3 and 4, we called it payload extraction. But in 4.3, we made that happen at runtime as well. So if you are, so not just at pre-render time, but maybe if one of your pages is cached, we can extract that payload too, so that in the background data can be fetched. I'll show you what it looks like using my side project. So npmx.dev. I don't tell anyone about it because no one else knows. So this is a new thing, heavily work in progress.
Okay.
And so the idea is it's an npm UI. So you can do things like search for, say, a package like Nuxt, or you can, or one of these others. Maybe you could open Astro, or you could open Vue, or whatever. Now, what happens in the background here? So this data is all live. It's updated. But when you load this page, you can see in the background we load these payloads. So this is the homepage payload, and then this is also homepage payload. One of them is cached and the other preloaded, and the other just fetches it from cache. But if we want to navigate to Nuxt, so when I hovered over that button, it loaded in another payload. And this payload here is the payload with all the information that we need to know about Nuxt. And so it has some information about a Nuxt description and some release dates and so on. And so that means when we click it, we don't need to perform any additional API calls. We don't need to fetch from npm registry, even though that is all happening right here and now. So it is happening, but it's just happening in the background. It's happening in that payload, so on the server, and then the data is cached at that point. Is this boring? It's not.
No, that makes complete sense. So,
okay.
but this is all looking at performance, right? So that when it's not reloading unnecessarily what it doesn't
exactly.
need. Perfect. Yeah,
it's all about performance. So it's how can we make the UI as fast as it possibly can be, so that because at this point the only thing that's delaying that click is the transition. So it's literally the CSS that transitions. The actual data is already fetched and ready to be displayed because it's all happened in the background. So we don't have this. So the first version I built of this, or if I were to just disable this feature, then it would fetch from 4 different npm endpoints, public endpoints, and it's going to mean that you go and then it's flashing a bit and it's fetching back from all these API endpoints from npm, and all of that slowness, if there's any slowness, gets propagated to you. But this way, you don't experience that at all. And so this was a new feature for Nuxt 4.3, and I wanted to try it out. So yesterday I built this, and I've done a bit on it today as well. But I'm really pleased. I like how it looks. I don't know if I'm just sort of speaking. So you can do searching. You can like browse versions and check, what are the previous versions of the package. You can look at all of them, zoom into them, see the README of that particular version if there's a difference. You can actually look at the code. So you can zoom into individual pieces of code. It obviously has to fetch it. I think this one hasn't been fetched before. And you can even, if you want to share this with somebody else, you can even share like highlight of particular links. So you could say, there we go. This is the link to the bit that I'm interested in. And then you just copy it, and that is going to load that same file and selection whenever you use it. So anyway, it feels quite fun. I've really been enjoying coding it, and obviously, and that's not all. It also, you can connect your local CLI. So this won't actually work for anybody else because it's not. I haven't actually released this package yet. But if I were to run my CLI locally, just from my own computer, I can actually just paste a token like this, connect, and now the website is authenticated. So, I think I'm logged out. I need to log into NPM. Sorry about this.
No, go for it. But that's a really cool way of looking, especially I guess the packages you care about, to have that view right there. Like, that's very cool. That's very cool.
I think one of the things for me that I want to do is a lot of things are better when the people who use them have the ability to change or affect or improve them. So when we Anthony and I and a few others created Elk was a I think I was probably fine before, but Elk was a client for Mastodon, so a social media network. It was a bit like a decentralized Twitter. And the thing was that social media is something we all use all the time. But imagine when you encounter a friction or a pain point, you can actually just go and find where that pain is coming from and fix it. Just open a PR and make a change, and it actually, your pain goes away. That's an amazing thing. And so the aim is really to do a similar kind of thing for NPM. So in this case, for example, if I were to go into, say, one of Nuxt's dependencies, I'll go into say the Nuxt org. Actually, I can see the members of the Nuxt org here. I can have a look at the teams. I can even make changes. So I could say, look, I'm going to add myself to this temp team here. And then it's going to queue up all of the things. I could do that. I could do some more things as well. And then I can approve and execute all of these admin actions that I want. I have to enter my NPM one-time password. I have two of them. I'm hoping that's the right one. No, it's not. It's the other one. But I can actually then just do that. So I've now added myself to this this team. This is something that I would have had to do with a CLI before, or do with the web UI. But the web UI is just it's not great for doing this kind of thing. So why not make a different one that suits me better, or that might suit other people better? And then if they spot frictions or pain points, they can fix them themselves. I feel like. Anyway, I don't know. It feels like something a lot of fun.
I love it. Honestly, I don't know if it's the agents or what. Like, literally yesterday, it was yesterday on Robert Duck Thursday, Cassidy, my boss, actually demoed something that she built using the Copilot SDK. That's basically this. It's like a wrapper so that you're able to have all your projects. It was beautiful because she's very whimsical and has an amazing design sensibility. And so it's got this little beautiful sprit of a Mona that waves at you, and it's given the same access, all the information that you can get from the GitHub UI and looking through the different projects, but she just made a wrapper that works for her, and she's able to pull the projects in and see what she's got pending. So I don't know, I think agents and being able to work like this so fast, it's just giving you an opportunity to make it work for you how you like it. And this is an amazing example. Is this open source as well, Daniel? You haven't shared this yet, have you?
It is open source. But I mean, I'm not telling anybody about it yet.
Okay. We're gonna keep it hush. But if you see it and you like it and you have feedback, definitely send Daniel a message.
So yes, keep it hush hush. But it is open source. Because I wanted to take advantage of GitHub's free action minutes. So it's open. And so you can go, and if you do have any issues or anything, pull requests, feel free to open them. The only proviso I would want to say is it is highly work in progress. I started it yesterday, so do tread with care. I normally try to open source something or at least announce it after I'm happy with it. I feel like it's done. Like this is something I'm proud of. I want people to see it, and I am proud of this. Even though I've coded quite a lot of it with an agent, I've reviewed everything, and it's my code as far as I'm concerned. But it's not done yet, and I would want to give a little bit more final polishing touches before I do publicize it. But yes, if you want to get involved, now is the time.
It's so
Absolutely.
snappy. I do love their website. It's very snappy. I just like clicked on it quickly. Drop you a star. Thank you, sir. You'll have to come back when you're ready to really push it and get community involved and contributors. Like, come back, and then we'll start doing some serious marketing. But this is
I
great,
see it.
though.
I
It feels
see it. You're right there. Thank you.
it feels very snappy. I think you embrace the Vercel Black things all sensitivity. Like I can see the patient. I'm like, if you had not told me, I would tell. It's like a very interesting design flavor that is coming from Vercel for sure. I love it.
I'll tell you what I was inspired by. It was this because it was from Basel. It was this website.
The skills, yeah.
I don't know if did you come across this?
So I am familiar, but would you please share it because this is something that especially now that the Copilot coding agent can pick up the skills from any of your coding agents, regardless. So please do tell us about this, because this is very cool. And shout out to Vercel for doing this. I love that.
So the idea is to expose. So what skills are for people who aren't maybe familiar with it. So the idea is that an agent often needs augmentation. And so you can augment that in a number of ways. You can do something like you can have an MCP server which exposes tools to an agent. So it says make a tool call, and here are some arguments that you can do. So a tool call would be something like get the GitHub release for Nuxt 4.3.0. And it makes the tool call, and then the MCP server says, okay, we need that. But good news, I have a token, I can access GitHub, I know how to do the APIs. So the agent doesn't have to know all of that. It just needs to know what it wants. And then back comes the release notes, not just an HTML page, but actually just the release notes. So that's an MCP server, that's a tool. A skill is a little bit like that, but complementary. So imagine you want to ask an agent to do something like write the release notes. Mm-hmm. And you might need a prompt for that. You might say, this is the project, this is the tone of voice, here's how we write release notes. It's not suitable for an MCP server. It's not a tool. It's not like you programmatically write the release notes. It's more like when you need to do the thing, here's all the context and information that you need in that moment. So it's a way of, as it were, downloading that only at the moment you need it and not beforehand, so it doesn't fill up the context unnecessarily. Is that a fair?
That is an excellent description of what skills are, and the example scenario you just given, I would say writing out your change log is a perfect use case for it. Yes.
So this website, the idea. So Vercel is increasingly, by the way, leaning into this idea of openness. And I'm really glad to see this happening, not just at Vercel, but other companies too. Companies that are leaning in towards saying, let's not just be just about us. Let's build something that is bigger, and let's collaborate with other people. I really think it is the best approach to do that. And this skills website is also aiming to be the same thing. So the aim is that it's open. Anyone can add skills. They can all be searched. You can see sort of popularity and so on. And they can describe a lot of different things. So, for example, there are a few Nuxt skills there. You can have a look at those. Maybe you want to know how to use Nuxt content or so on. And then there are also, I wonder if there's a release writing skills. No, there's some vulnerability. Yes, release planning, release manager. So, and obviously these are submitted by lots of different people. They're all GitHub URLs. But you can have a look. There's a repository that matches it. There's the details of what the skill is and how it works and so on. And then there's a CLI as well that enables you to add it to a repository where you're working. And I'm not sure that Okay, it creates the file that your agent needs. So if that's something, if you're using something like Claude, it creates that. If you're using GitHub Copilot Agent Mode, it creates the Copilot instructions file. It does all of these things. I'm not quite sure. I don't like all of these files arriving in my repo personally. People periodically open PRs to add additional files to the Nuxt repo for different agents, and I just feel like we shouldn't have so many different ones. I hope we can standardize on some kind of pattern so that we don't have this. But anyway, that's a whole total digression. The website was really fast and snappy. It feels really nice, right? You type and you get immediately the response. And so someone said, I wish NPM were like this. And I thought, you have successfully nerd sniped me. I want to see if I can do that. And particularly, I wanted to see if I could do it with this new feature that we are building in Nuxt 4.3, this payload extraction for cached routes. Because payload extraction, obviously, previously, the point is it doesn't change. You extract it at generate time, and it stays the same forever. But for a website that is querying NPM data, those packages change all the time. So how can you optimize the performance of loading that data, but at the same time just have it cached rather than stored permanently? And so that's the whole thing that we're trying to do with this payload extraction for cached routes. So I'm super pleased about that, and I'm glad it actually worked. I did actually spot a bug, so I was glad to find the bug before the release and not afterwards.
Amazing. Okay, so I love that. I love it that sort of make like everything in the web should feel like this. I think our patience for like slow loading pages has gone down even more if it's possible. This quickly to close the loop on this open agent skills ecosystem. This is also open source and people can contribute their skills, correct?
Exactly.
And beautiful. Yeah. So if you have a really cracked skill out there that you're like, my agents are working so much better because I enable whatever its skill is, definitely contribute to it. And please tag me. I want to know what it is. I do want to close the loop on this and go back to Nuxt. What's your favorite skill out of the ones that you've seen? Or is there one in particular that you were like, didn't think about that, and glad somebody else did?
I feel really embarrassed. I haven't actually.
You're like, I just like the website and I wanted to test it. It's awesome. Okay, well, I love that. Let's see. I'm gonna take a quick look through the comments to see if there is any questions that we can address. Yeah, no, just mostly questions about prices and things. Friends, I don't control that. I love y'all, but I can control bringing you amazing content like Daniel. All right, so you're doing a ton of work, obviously with Nuxt now, focus on the next release. That cadence of releases you mentioned earlier, is that weekly, bi-weekly? I missed that.
Yes, exactly. The aim is to have a bug fix release every week.
Fantastic.
Or two. So and I'm not too precious on that, but that means I'm expecting that next week I'll probably have another release of any bugs that we find or solve between now and then. So that's on my list, which means then obviously there's things I have to put in practice. So I'm releasing 3.x, so we're still supporting Nuxt 3, and all the features that we release for Nuxt 4, we also add and backport to Nuxt 3. That will end in the end of January, and I'll just backport bug fixes and security fixes, which will make my life a little bit easier. But yeah, so we start the process of that. We also test. So we have an ecosystem CI repository which runs on GitHub Actions and tests the latest edge commit of Nuxt against 25 consuming packages. Projects.
Oh, wow.
So they use Nuxt. So there are modules, they are websites that use Nuxt. And so we see, well, do their tests still pass? So in CI, we basically rebuild Nuxt. And then in each of these projects, we pin that as the version of Nuxt they're using. And then we say, does their test suite still pass? And that's a really useful thing to give us confidence that when we ship a new version of Nuxt, it's hopefully not going to break things for people. It doesn't stop bugs from creeping in, but it makes a
Bugs
huge difference.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Are there any other projects that have that kind of cadence too for shipping? Like I don't think there are very many, right? Like usually releases take a lot of time. Uh a
They,
lot.
they they do. But I think we try and ship quickly. We try not to get into the rhythm of, because it's easy to fall into the rhythm of not shipping quickly. But I don't know. I've been known to merge a PR from somebody, not on Nuxt in this case, but merge a PR and then immediately ship like push a release, because what's the harm? It means they get their fix straight away when people aren't kept waiting for a long time. I think that's wait being. I think it's particularly hard when you're waiting for something. You're waiting for a review. You're waiting for a release of something you use all the time, particularly when it's solved. So that's a pain point we can easily make go away.
100%. Yeah, it gets a bit frustrating, and folks like maintainers are doing the best they can. Honestly, like it's not that they don't want to. It's like who has the time to do all the things? So we need more people like you working full time in open source. But that's a story for alone other day. What else you want to show us, Daniel? This is very interesting. I've shared. Somebody asked on the chat they wanted to take a look at the website for skills. I shared that. And before I go to asking you what else you want to share, I do want to address a question, which this is a really good question. I think I asked you this before. I was like, well, so how do you pick? Especially being in the position that you're now, like the entire community is looking at you for sort of that leadership and rigor in making those decisions or helping make those decisions. So what is it that you take into consideration when you're doing that?
So I wonder if Rory's question comes out a little bit from our move from talking about full static to payload extraction. I think in general, my preference is that we don't change the name. So in general, I would say I want to be very conservative with changes. So for example, there are a number of PRs that are that maybe make something that is a slightly better name. Or here's an example. We have hooks in Nuxt, and some of them have kebab casing. They're all lowercase and they're separated by dashes. Then there are one or two hooks that have camel case. They have a capital letter in the middle of them and no dash. Now, to me, that is very frustrating. But here's where the conservative part comes in. The value of changing them is very small. So the value of changing them is it looks and feels better. That is something that is beneficial. But it's breaking. It's going to break other people who are expecting a previous thing. And if you decide, oh, we won't break them, we'll add some backwards compatibility code, then you make it slower. And the fact is, even if it's small, I would rather not. I would rather keep things working in the same way, named the same thing as much as I possibly can. I want to have to be pushed to make a change, right? So new features can come out, but I want to have to push to change existing ones in a way that breaks things for people. Now, the question Roy is asking about the name change. So in this case, full static was a mode that affected your entire app. So when you were in full static mode, every part of your website acted in this way. And so your whole website had these static payloads, which was great. But one of the big things that we've done since moving to Nuxt 3 and Nuxt 4 is make your app much more granular. So the idea that only one page might have this behavior, or only another page might have that behavior. And talking about it as static wasn't quite right either, because the app isn't necessarily static. It might change. You can still trigger refreshes manually. So it was a tough call, but we made so many changes between Nuxt 2 and 3. In fact, I think it's a case study of also some things not to do. But we made so many changes that we felt it was a good thing to change here, because it wasn't the same feature anymore. It enabled people to have a similar kind of effect, but in fact, it was implemented differently and it worked differently. and it was used differently, so in a more granular way. But in general, I would say don't change the name of core features. That's you really have to have a strong reason to do that. Definitely if it's going to break anybody.
Oh, 1,000%. I think that's a good practice. And yeah, no, that makes total sense. There is a question in the chat about, and thanks for being here, Mr. Afonso, about triggering ISR regeneration manually. Let me bring it up on the screen.
So it's worth saying ISR is a platform-specific feature.
Okay.
So there are some providers like Vercel, Netlify, and Cloudflare have effectively this kind of thing. We also have something in Nuxt and Nitro, which is universal, called SWR, stale while we validate, which has a very similar effect but works everywhere, including on Node. So the reason I say that is stale while we validate. We can have one answer to the question. How do you invalidate it? I can tell you how to do it. You basically just tell Nitro to invalidate it. You delete the key from storage. That's fine because it's all internal. But in terms of ISR, the mechanism differs based on the provider because it's a provider feature and not a Nuxt feature. So all we do if you enable ISR for a route is we say to the provider, hey, treat this as incremental static regeneration or revalidation. And so I would have to ask you the question, Afonso, are you deploying on Vercel, Netlify, Cloudflare? For example, if you're deploying on Vercel, there is a function you can call that will invalidate any tag. And you can associate any arbitrary tag to any response. So if you are storing one of your responses in the ISR layer, then you can later somewhere else call that invalidate function and it will be invalidated. And yes, you can do that in Nuxt, but it's a platform specific feature. And so it's not really a Nuxt feature. It's a platform level.
Okay. So Afonso, if you want to follow up and if it's Vercel, maybe Daniel can help. Thank you for the question. And thanks for the feedback. Mr. Seigel's share a project that he's built with Vercel. Hey, let's see. And thank you, Rory, for the question as well. What else you want to show us, Daniel? There's some exciting times. I'm gonna share. Let's see. What is this? Is this your how to give feedback to you directly? This link I just got?
So yes, this is just something else I want to say because I don't know if anyone here wants to get involved in open source, but I have an open diary, so you can book a 10-minute call with me if you want.
Yes.
And so feel free, go for it. You can book it. It's not long, so I hope you won't feel bad about doing it. It's always nice for me. And that's particularly so if you want to get involved in open source, but you're not sure if you would be welcome, or if you feel like your background is a little bit different and you're not sure whether it's the thing for you. I'm here. You can bounce those questions off me. I can definitely reassure you as far as anything I'm involved in that you would be very welcome. But it's open diary if that's helpful for you at all. I just thought I would mention that.
That is so unbelievably generous. I'm gonna post this here before Daniel changes his mind. That's amazing. That's amazing. So folks, if you're thinking about open source and you want to get started, I mean, you don't get this kind of offers every day. So I will jump on this opportunity. Nelson, you asked earlier, you wanted to work full-time in open source. I mean, Daniel, you've done it. You're living the dream, right? Is it a dream?
I'm living the dream. I'm absolutely living the dream.
Yes.
So I think for me, I would say don't get involved in open source because you want to work full-time in open source, because it seems to be it's not predictable. It's not like if you're good enough, you can work full-time in open source. It's not there's not something you can do necessarily to make that happen. It's an opportunity that might come, but for me, I feel like it was getting struck by lightning. So if it was something that I really had my heart set on, then I might spend a lot of time disappointed. I've seen people become bitter because they felt like they should have received more credit, that they deserved more credit. It's probably true. They probably did deserve more credit, but it's a hard way to live your life. you can end up feeling very burnt out very quickly when you don't get the response that that you deserve. So from my point of view, I try as much as possible to disconnect my view of myself from what I get. So if people are saying great things about me all the time, I try not to connect that too closely to how I actually feel about myself. And if people are saying bad things about me, or they're not responding, or I don't get as many stars on a project as I would like, I also try and say, that doesn't mean the project isn't good. And that's not a verdict on me as a person or an engineer or an open source developer. Because otherwise it can become very, very, I don't know, I feel it can do things to your mind that are not helpful. It can get really unhealthy. So I try and say, I do what I do because I love it. The fact that I am able to be paid full time is amazing extra cherry on top. Would I do it if I weren't paid full time? Well, don't tell my employers, but yes, I would.
You've done it. So,
because
yeah.
because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
Yeah, of course.
My motivation for doing it isn't. I would probably not have as much time because I also have a strong need to be able to eat and things like that. So I would have less time, but I would still do it to the extent I could because I get joy from it personally. It is fulfilling to me. It is, and I could talk about all the reasons why it's good. And I would absolutely say this: if you want to work in open source, do it because you enjoy it. Do it because you're getting something out of it, regardless of the income. And there are, yeah, absolutely, Cassidy. That's true. And I think it's similar in a lot of ways to artists, and I would include writers, and poets and things in there as well. There are things that don't make economic sense.
It's not for the money and the fame. I don't understand. That's not why people are. That's not why we're open source. Okay.
I think if you I don't know, if you want to make an author really discouraged, just talk to them about how much they must be earning. It's such a punishing thing to become a published author, right? I mean, you spend years slaving over a book. You're given a tiny advance if you even manage to get it. It's really bad. I think almost so many authors are only able to do it because they have support from elsewhere, either from family, from savings, or they make it work. I feel like it's a lot like open source.
I like that. That's a really good analogy for sure. Welcome, Cassidy, my boss. Also, what if I'm scared? Do it scared, Cassidy. Do it scared if you want to contribute. And I'm going to plug one more time because this is a gift that you're giving us. If you want 15 minutes of Daniel's time, jump on this before he closes his diary. So, all right, off it goes. And for sure, and thank you so much, everyone who's contributing to the chat now. Mr. White, you're absolutely 100% and very aligned. And your friends would ask you why you're not rich yet. And yeah, you got a lot to contribute, but for sure, values, interests, doing what you love and getting paid for it, Astros, that is a dream. 100%, 100%. Yeah. So some of us are very fortunate that we get to work in things that we actually genuinely enjoy and love. So you're gonna start getting a lot of calendar invites coming up this afternoon, Daniel. I am so grateful for you offering that up. Honestly, this is fantastic. Okay, what's coming up next? Tell me about the things that you're working for next week's release or any of the bigger picture release things that are coming for Nuxt and for the Nuxt community and you personally, like what's popping?
So, okay, so there's lots of stuff coming up. And one of the biggest things is the release of Nitro version 3 and Nuxt version 5. So Nitro version 3 has been in the works for a long time. It is a complete reworking. Well, it's not totally reworking, but it's a very significant refactoring and improvement of the server engine that powers Nuxt. We built Nitro originally for Nuxt. When we created Nuxt 3, we didn't even have a single line of code, I think, from Nuxt 2. We completely built it from scratch. And because we had the chance to rebuild the framework with all of what we had learned from versions 1 and 2, we created things that we knew we would need. But instead of scoping them to Nuxt or including them in the repo, we extracted them into a separate org on GitHub called un.js. The idea that we would collaborate with other people and other frameworks and build the tools that we all needed. I think it's a common phrase. If you want to go far, go alone. If you want to go quickly, go alone.
Go
If you want
alone.
to go
That's
fast,
it.
go
Yeah,
alone.
yeah.
If you want to go far, go together. And that is absolutely what we wanted to do. We wanted to go together. So we did that for many things, but including that, our server engine. So we originally called it Nuxt Sigma, and then it was Nuxt Nitro, and then we just called it Nitro. And it now powers Analog, which is an Angular meta framework. It powers Solid Start, TanStack Start, Nuxt, and I would love to see that be true of more frameworks as well. And so that has been really improved. It's it's so much faster, it's so much smaller, and more performant in version 3. It moves away from node type request response over to the web APIs. So normal request and response that you might get from a fetch API request and response. And so there are a lot of really nice things with it. There's a beta release of H3, which is an underlying framework, which specifies some of the benchmarks and the performance improvements that you'll see in Nitro version 3, but they're really significant. And we've been working on it for a long time. We originally thought Nitro version 3 would be released last February, so over a year ago, and it still isn't, because we are working very hard at making sure it's absolutely right. This is very much not the Nuxt release cycle, sort of the other extreme of it. But we're working hard, and so we're nearly there. We released the second alpha of that just a few days ago, maybe last week. The person, by the way, who's leading the Nitro project is called Puya. He's the one who created it, and he used to be the Nuxt team lead as well before me. So a very talented guy. And so we're working really hard to get Nitro version 3 out the door. And when we do, we'll then be in a position to release Nuxt 5. So it's a breaking change to move the server engine. So it's another major, but it's going to bring a lot of things in terms of performance. And I think better DX as well for people. So that is where a lot of my mind share is right now. A lot of the changes I'm making to Nuxt itself are in line with that. So trying to make that move as smooth as possible. We did, I think, a good job when we released version 4 at making it very easy to update. So we gave people opt-in flags. We gave them opt-out flags. People could update with very little. There were code mods. There were a lot of things that we built that made it straightforward for people to update, so that we wouldn't break people unnecessarily. And that was partly because we learned from Nuxt 2 to 3, which was incredibly painful. I mean, incredibly painful. It was a rewrite. It was almost a different framework. That was something partly to do with Nuxt, partly to do with Vue, partly the ecosystem. But it was very bad. And so we're, as much as possible, trying to go in the other direction and reassure people that major versions are not things to be afraid of. So the update from 3 to 4 was good, and I'm hoping, I want to make the update from 4 to 5 as absolutely minimal in terms of pain as I possibly can, but that's something we're going to have to work really hard on. So it's not going to be that Nitro 3 is out and we immediately release Nuxt 5. We're going to take some time to make sure it's right. And people will be able to test it out long in advance, just as we've done for 3 to 4. So yes, that's on the list, and it's closer than ever. So I plan to make the Nuxt main branch track our version 5 release. I'll be merging in I have a work in progress PR to update to Nitro version 3. It passes all our tests, and that will be merging in probably in the next week. And from that point, people will be able to test Nitro 3 and Nuxt, like the preliminary Nuxt 5 version, pretty soon. So it's very exciting.
That's awesome. Okay, so keep your eyes peeled for that, and they'll be able to pull that tag from like the Nuxt. Let me find the GitHub repo, because in case you have not started the project, you should go and do that. But also so you can keep your eyes peeled for when Daniel does that update and you get to test it out. I love that you give people the ability to try it out well in advance before it's a hard change. That's awesome.
I mean, it's so useful for us because, I mean, Nuxt is very much a community project in the sense that everyone is involved. There are so many people who are making PRs that are so beneficial and valuable to Nuxt. And so people getting the chance to test things out just makes it easier to spot bugs and fix them for everyone else. So it's really beneficial for us as well.
Beautiful. Okay. Daniel, we do have a question. I don't think I ever asked you how you started your career, actually. I don't think we even talked about that last time. We talked about how you got involved with the project, but not really. Not really. Do you remember your first open source contribution?
So I actually created a project to show you your first open source contribution.
Haha, let's see it.
So it's called First Commit. So if you go to firstcommit.is,
Oh, I love this.
You can either log in with GitHub. It doesn't collect anything. It just it allows you to do it with a single button, or you can just enter your username and see what your first commit is. And so my first commit on GitHub was in 2018. I added, it was appropriately called First Commit. This is actually what it was called, and I basically added an empty README to a project. And yeah, this was the beginning for me. I was working. I mean, I should say my story, my background is crazy. I studied law. That was my degree. I thought I might be a writer. I was not planning to be I thought I would be a writer as a teenager, and then I studied law and thought I would be a lawyer. Then I studied theology, and I actually did become a vicar, a church leader. I did that for a number of years. And then I started totally out of nowhere, in order to give my parents the right, a visa to come to the UK. I started an agency focused on clear communication, something that was very important to me, both from my time as a lawyer and also my time as a preacher. So I started the agency focused on clear communication, and we help businesses figure out what they need to say, what their actual words would be, focusing not on mass producing content, but on trimming it down to as minimal as you can get.
Wow.
And often when we did that, businesses would find out that actually nothing about their current website or brand or logo or was right. They needed to change it all. And so we were being asked, can you redesign our website for us? Well, obviously, we picked that up, and I sort of taught myself how to do these things, started out in WordPress. This commit was from the WordPress ecosystem. This will have been back in my agency days, and picking up best practices in web development as much as possible. And obviously, I wanted everything. I wanted to be involved in open source. I was a Linux user, and I loved the idea of things being open. As a teenager, I hated Microsoft. Worst company in the world, as far as I was concerned.
You were not the only one.
Everything was closed. It was all shut down. We were kept out.
How the times have changed.
I know. It's amazing, right? But that was the last thing I wanted to be. I wanted to be open. I wanted to give back. I saw people were giving me a gift by throwing their open source project out there. I wanted to give them a gift back. And so I got involved in open source at that point, and learned little by little. It's a bit scary. Sometimes you feel, am I going to be judged? What are people going to think about me? Because here I am. I've not got a computer science degree. I'm not coming with I'm not even working for a company. Like, it's my own company, so I'm pretty much clueless when it comes to all of this. So it is scary. So yeah, maybe Cassidy, maybe that I totally agree with that. And so I got involved more and more and asked people for help. And then when they told me what I needed to do, then I was able to help other people in the same way, and even give them the same answer I had just received. And it was so fun. I enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun. Honestly, what is it? The dopamine hit, or
Yeah,
I'm so confused.
it is. It
I don't
is
really know the
though.
difference between dopamine and serotonin and like all of these other things. It was a feel good chemical.
Yeah,
Basically it was great, right? You help someone, or you open a PR and then you see your name in the release notes. Like it felt amazing, right? It's
you're
so
like,
cool.
what? Look at my little face in that square, and it says
Yes.
I did something, and other people are using it, and other people are enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best. That's hard to. That's yeah. Dopamine hit is right. Dopamine hit is right. This is brilliant, Daniel. That is I. I knew about you having trained as an attorney. I did not know you were a baker at one point. This might be you might have like the who is it? Somebody else I talked to that they were a watchmaker at one point. Jan,
Ooh,
fellow
that's cool.
star. Yeah, he was like a fine, like the like this insanely hundreds of thousands of dollars. He was a watchmaker, like that's what he did.
Yeah.
But I think you went for the absolutely most non-traditional path to computer and engineering and science, for sure. Amazing. Listen, you've been so generous with your time. It's now been an hour since we've been here yapping. Is there anything else you want to share? And I know it's late where you are, but I could talk to you all day. And I think the folks who are tuning in, they also legit just love hearing your story. And thank you so much for everything that you do for beyond the Nuxt community. It's so valuable for you to share like this personal experience and the philosophy, the way that you guys do things. Because I think a lot of projects can take note and learn, and that's what open source is all about, right? Caring and sharing. So anything else you want to share with us today?
And nothing else on from my point of view. Oh, I should say my website. If anyone
Yes,
wants to
please,
go
please, please,
there.
please. Let's see
I
that.
I do occasionally. I wrote something that recently about AI and LLMs that was sort of surprisingly meaningful to me. Uh, as in, yeah, I don't know if it will be meaningful to anything else, but it was something that I. So yes, that's on there. And apart from that, there should be lots of social media networks. I'm pretty much everywhere except Twitter. So if anyone wants to like DM me, I'm happy to answer questions or help out if I can ever help you out.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Daniel, so much for being here. I'm gonna once again let me find your Blue Sky. What are you the most on? Is it on Blue Sky or Mastodon or
I am most on Blue Sky. I only
okay.
do bouldering on Instagram. So that if that's not what you're after, then don't come to Instagram. But yeah, Blue Sky is where I hang out.
Okay, let me find your link. I had it a moment ago, and or if you have it handy and don't mind passing it to me. Like I make my guests work here. How rude. Oh, but it's literally danielroe.dev. So folks, is here it goes. Definitely go ahead and give Daniel a follow on Blue Sky. And I have should I share your diary one more time? This is too good not to share. Like, it really is. And I did my first commit. I love this little website, first of all. I can't believe I haven't seen this before. And it was very deep. It says, my first commit. Wowza. Like,
What?
that is quite literally what it says. And it's on a Ruby project. Oh, because I started learning Ruby. This is 2015, 2016. That is so funny. 10 years ago, my first commit, wowza. I
That's
mean,
cool.
and I definitely probably felt like I just unlocked the secrets of the universe by being able to push something to GitHub. So that's fantastic. I love it. I love it.
It
I love
is.
it. I love it.
It's so cool, isn't it? Like, yeah, yeah.
And Cassie's first comment was LOL. That checks out. That checks out. Yep.
Nothing if not consistent. That's what we're going for.
That
Consistent.
checks out. Friends, go to the site and try it out. This is such a fun. I've seen a lot of this 2016, 2026 thing. So it's like a perfect 10-year arc for me. Wow, I love it. Daniel, you're a star in life in all aspects. Thanks for being here. I'll see you soon. Please come back. Obviously, when you go to 5, you have to come back and we have to talk about that because that would have been when was the last major release? Like a year? No. less than a year ago. When was 4.0? Let me see.
I think, yeah, 4 was just last year.
Yes, last year, yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely would love for you to come back and talk us through some of those changes and for people to bring their questions. But thank you so much for being so transparent about how you make decisions too. I think that's super important. So thank you.
It's a real pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, Daniel. I'll see you next time. Everyone, please go follow Daniel immediately. I'm going to find the link to his diary before he changes his mind. So if you want to book a time with Daniel, you better go grab it right meow. Tell me what your first commit was. I love that so much. It's just nice. It's nice to think back. And I know obviously it's gonna be different for everybody. And a lot of people were still not on GitHub or they were working elsewhere, but this is a fun exercise. It's nice to remember. Thank you all so much for being here on Open Source Friday today. Yes, the first time you do that hello world and you're like, I am a computer genius. I mean, listen, I still go through this every day. I'm like, I am the worst, what a fake. And then it works. And I'm like, I am a goddess and I'm right where I belong. So I think we all keep struggling with that. But the idea is to keep learning. Certainly, Deb, you can look it up. Let me pass the website. Actually, if that is your GitHub handle, and you don't have to authenticate to see it, Daniel created this website the way I like them, in the open. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to leave you with our latest release, big splash from yesterday, the GitHub Copilot SDK, a way for you to bring GitHub, the intelligence of GitHub Copilot and the coding agent, the GitHub Copilot CLI, right into your projects. If you didn't watch us yesterday during Robert Duck Thursday, we covered a couple of our fun use cases for it. Love to see what you're building and what you're using the SDK for. Keep loving open source. Thank you for being here. Everyone, have a great Friday. Take the rest of the day off. Actually, not yet. Come back here in an hour so that we can talk to Peter, okay? Because I made him either wake up or whatever he was doing. He was busy. He's coming back. So I'll see you now in an hour to talk about Club Boat. And yeah, just stay open. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you.